Hi, Chris Montalbano with Pilgrim Title, here with Ruth Dillingham. Ruth is an attorney extraordinaire in the field of mortgage closing and compliance, and is been my go-to reference on all things of that nature for a long, long time now. And we're happy to have her here at the closing table here in Riverside. Welcome, Ruth.
Thank you.
So, again, going back, 10 or so years to the last mortgage collapse, we used to have the appraisals, the no-visit appraisals, the desktop appraisals, that type of thing. And, that sort of went away, I would say, by and large, once the so-called collapse happened. Not so-called, the collapse happened. It was a collapse.
It was.
But now, things we're getting more into closings happening regularly, and, everyone's looking for faster, better, cheaper. And I'm hearing that one of the new sort of methods is going to be the no appraisal mortgage loan.
Yes.
Is that what you're seeing and hearing?
Well, it certainly is one of the things that lenders are looking at very carefully. So obviously the appraisal is a significant cost for the borrower.
Mm-hmm.
One that lenders would like to not impose on their borrower if they didn't have to.
Right.
And in a stable market where you have very consistent housing stock, you might have a subdivision with 200 houses.
Correct.
That were all built by the same builder. They all look exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
You have this huge data bank at the investor level, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac,
Right.
where they know the names of all those streets. They know every single one of them is a center entrance colonial.
And they've been gathering this data now for
Decades.
and they've, now we're getting to the point technology-wise where they can sort of process that and come up with some predictions and analytics that they can base some decisions on.
Right. So if you were to look at a property that in May of 2000 was a $70,000 sale,
Right.
and you overlay your algorithm of what has happened to housing prices in Pawtucket since then,
Correct.
you know that today it's probably going to go on the market for $165.
Yep.
How do you know that? You don't know that.
Right.
The computer.
Right. Has figured all that out for you, or
Yes.
they've done the math, and the math makes sense in a global sort of way, but it might not make sense in a specific way if you don't have somebody actually with eyes on the property.
Right. And that's one of the risks that the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the GSEs have decided to take, is that they are pretty confident that if it was worth that then, it's now being sold for that now, and it matches their analytics. They don't really need to send somebody out to make sure it's still a 2-bedroom, 1-bath.
And however, suppose in the title search we come across a notice of violation, and we notice that something, there's no longer the 2 bedrooms, or
Right.
it was a notice of demolition or something of that nature.
That is where I think we're going to be seeing a need for real conversations between the lenders who have opted to go with the sort of no appraisal route with their investor,
Gotcha.
and the title or settlement agent who finds something out about the property through the public record.
Gotcha.
So no one is expecting you to go drive down to Pawtucket and take a look at the house,
Right.
but what if your title abstract came back and showed that there were a financing statement for solar panels, or that they had a variance to tear down
The garage.
the garage?
Right.
So these are the types of things you would now find, and not to get too wonky about this, some of that stuff doesn't go into the title policy.
Right, that is correct.
So the lender never finds out about it.
Right.
Yet, has the value of the collateral changed? Arguably.
And can you talk a little bit, if we find the financing for the solar panels, which means they've probably put solar panels on in 2017, why is that a particular issue?
Well, that's a huge issue because Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac won't buy that loan.
Really?
Yes, there's a category of solar panel called PACE loans, and they have done a risk analysis, and that type of loan adds a layer of risk that they're not willing to assume.
Gotcha.
So if you as a title agent at Pilgrim find that, you need to find a way to communicate that to your lender. It's not gonna be through the commitment,
Right.
because it's not a
It's
matter
personal
of,
property. It's
right.
not a- yeah.
it's
right.
not a matter of reported title,
Right.
but you know about it,
Gotcha.
because it was in your abstract.
Yeah.
So where we're gonna be seeing, I think, down the line, 6, 12, 18 months, is more communication between lenders and the person doing title to let them know if something shows up in the title, even if it's not gonna be on the final title policy, that might impact the collateral.
Gotcha. So, communication is key as always, and that's how we've always tried to operate and be valuable business partners to our lender and realtor clients. If we know something they think they should know about, we try and always
Right.
let them know.
And the challenge, I'm sure, sometimes is getting to the right person
Correct.
who's part of that underwriting team, rather than it stalling out in
Somewhere
the
along-
communication channel.
Correct. Great. Well, that's another edition of Todd Talks Title and the forthcoming appraisal-less mortgage environment that we're going to be seeing. Thank you, Ruth, for joining us today, and thank you all for watching.